So, just so you guys know exactly how my scouting process works, what I try to do is I try to find a list of the top prospects without really seeing who's the number one prospect and who's like the number two, three, four. I want to kind of go in with a blank slate, and just sort of figure out as I'm watching who I think is the better player. So I'm not letting other people's opinions influence my opinion too much. There are people I respect, and so I will look at their opinions after the fact and just sort of see like how I might match up. I might make some small adjustments based on things that they brought up that I didn't think of that I go back and watch and realize is the case. But the reason why I'm talking about all this is because when I watched Trevon Moehrig's tape, I watched like 3 games of it and said, okay, I don't need to watch anymore. I get it. He's, fifth round pick or something. I don't need to spend too long on this guy, which usually I don't even do. I only do that with like the real low level prospects that you can kind of tell right away. So I was completely shocked when I found out most people have a first round grade on this guy. I got to be honest, I don't get it. So I went back, I watched a ton more tape on him, just trying to figure out exactly what am I missing. I still haven't figured that out. So I'm going to explain in this video why I'm not too high on him, why I think there's some real issues with his game, and maybe some people in the comments below can sort of explain to me why, maybe tell me what I'm missing, because I just don't get it. Like, we'll start off with this play, and luckily the person who made this uploaded this video on YouTube was nice enough to get those arrows pointing down towards the player. I usually can just tell by the number, but the arrows help too. This is going to be man coverage, and Moehrig is not the kind of guy you want playing man coverage like this, which in fairness, it's a pretty tough thing for a safety to do in general. Like, there's not a ton of safeties who can just consistently play man coverage and have success. So if he's not the best at this, then fine, sure, whatever. But anyways, watch how once this play starts, you're going to notice that. So this is great positioning. First off, you can't get better positioning than this because it's going to be an out route, as we know. And Moehrig has already turned his hips toward the outside. So this is what you want to see. And typically when you have guys with good fundamentals, you're thinking, okay, great, good fundamentals. I like that. But here's my issue is that even with his relatively perfect fundamentals, he's still not getting anywhere near where he has to get. Watch how once this play starts, he nearly falls down. And on top of this is going to then just really struggle to actually get that tackle after that. That's not a good situation whatsoever. So several things wrong on that one. Obviously, the tackling wasn't great and the coverage wasn't great. This one's another example where, again, it's man coverage. Because, again, man coverage, yes, it is difficult, but it's also a great way to see how well someone really is in coverage. And his man coverage ability, not very good, which is weird because I've heard some scouts sort of talk that up as something that he can do. Like, hey, he can play man coverage. And yes, he technically can play in man coverage, but he can't do it well, in my opinion, from what I've seen on tape. So on this play, again, a very similar thing, just this time on the top of the screen instead of the bottom of the screen. And watch how once this play starts, it's really just going to be a poor read on this one where he goes too far in, which the ball just goes over his head. And honestly, if he made the right angle, I don't think he's getting there. So that's concerning to me that he's taking poor angles and isn't that quick. I don't think he has the speed to really keep up with these NFL guys. Now, I should be clear in pointing out that, yes, he doesn't do that very well, but honestly, it's not something that you need a safety to do that often. Breaking, east and west, typically a safety, especially someone like him, is going to break more in, and he can do that pretty well. Like, I don't think he's terrible at that. So that's something that he is bringing to the table, absolutely. And but at the same time, the reality is, if you're going to be a safety in the NFL, you have to be able to play strong and free. And if you're playing free safety and you can't move east and west that well, that's a real issue to me. And that is kind of I don't know if I draft you kind of thing. So his coverage, from what I've seen, not particularly great. Now, his tackling ability, his run defense, not bad. In fact, at some points, it is pretty good. And I think that that's probably why people are thinking about drafting him, because he will make some splash plays. And I do love some splash plays. But the issue is that it's not like his splash plays tend to be like these big interceptions or forced fumbles and stuff like that. They tend to just be he's doing a good job of making a tackle for a 1 yard loss when he's unblocked, which to me, that doesn't really have much value in the NFL, especially when you're not as fast as a lot of NFL players. So like on this play, this is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. He does do this very well. Like, I want to be very fair to him. This is partially why I think he is getting drafted. Is it's going to be a handoff to the top of the screen, and like I said, he's going to end up being the closest unblocked man who could try and make this play. I actually think there was maybe some kind of a mistake. Also, excuse me, it's not going to be a handoff. It's going to be just a little pass, but same effect. And I wonder if there was some sort of mistake here by West Virginia. I'm not sure if this is exactly what they were attempting to do here. I don't know, but this play isn't going to work out too well. But also, watch what Moehrig is able to do. As you see, right when this play starts, he reads it well, and he runs in and is able to make a good tackle. I mean, that's a good play. It's not going to blow me away personally, but apparently it does blow away some other people. Personally, I just think that those situations hardly ever happen in today's NFL. A play like this is something you'll see far more often in the NFL that a safety is going to have to do, which is just be in cleanup duty. Honestly, that's a huge part of what a safety has to do. Is just when the play doesn't work, make a tackle. And what's going to happen on this play is it's going to be a run to the bottom of the screen. You see where Moehrig is. He's over the middle of the field, and watch what happens. Right when this play starts, you're going to notice that he, goes down to the bottom of the screen. Obviously, this play is not working out too well for TCU. Not his fault up to this point at all, right? But this is a tackle that you absolutely have to make. You cannot miss this tackle, especially in the NFL. If you don't make that tackle, it's going to be a touchdown pretty much every time. Especially with, there's contact right now. It's a very easy angle for him to take. This is just a tackle you can't miss. And yet his poor angle means that he does not make the tackle. Doesn't even really come close. And luckily a teammate was able to come by and finish it off. But it's a mistake that can't happen. And it's very worrisome. And it's not a reason. It's a main reason that I wouldn't even think about drafting him in the first round or the second round, quite frankly. It's kind of funny. I compared him to, last year it was Jeff Gladney, who I sort of made that comparison of like someone who kept getting first round hype and I just didn't see it. I wasn't really sure why. And it feels like I'm just not really sure if that's a move that would make sense. I didn't even think they both went to TCU. So that, adds to the comparison. But like, I don't know, like I always feel kind of weird making these kind of videos because on one hand I'm like, well, I don't want someone to like fail when it's someone that's not even like a NFL player, but he's gonna get drafted in the first round anyways, so my video doesn't really change that, and he's gonna have plenty of money, so either way things will go well for him. I think it would be a mistake to draft him. I really do. Maybe I'm missing something though, and that's why I'm kind of wanting to make this video, because typically when it comes to scouting, I feel like for the most part get pretty similar of how we feel about these guys. I mean, typically when I come up with my notes, I then compare it with other people's, and it tends to be pretty similar. But every now and then there is one that's just completely different, and I'm like, am I reading the right name? Is this something else? I don't know. I don't get it. I think that he's not very good in coverage, and he can only really do one thing well, which is a thing I don't think will matter much in the NFL. So yeah, I personally would not draft him. What would you guys do? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Trevon Moehrig? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.